All right, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a very young, talented woman who is joining us all the way from Toronto today, Divneet Kaur. Hi, Divneet. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. I'm so excited to talk about your first release, New Dawn Within. Congratulations. That's a huge
Woohoo!
accomplishment.
Thank you.
Great. So, Divneet, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself to everyone who's listening today. I would love to hear more about you, the inspiration behind this book, and what inspired you to write your first book.
Amazing. So, my name is Divneet. I'm originally from India. I moved to Canada at the age of 18 to study at University of Ottawa, and I did political science and Bachelor of Arts from there. And yeah, it was interesting because I was always very vested into philosophies of life, going through adversities of life. I always thought, okay, there has to be an answer on how to live this maze. And what is all this about? What are ambitions about? What are relationships about? So, yeah, coming over here at the age of 18, I realized that, I had to be my own parent here and go through all those challenges like all the other immigrant students who come from here. So yes, that's why the Indian accent, because I'm originally from India. And, I get that question a lot. But yeah, I always wanted to write a book in my early age itself, in my younger 20s. But I think I wanted to write about how to be positive and where does the positivity gets us. But I never really had any solid content. Writing, it sounds easy, but once you get in front of your laptop, I guess that's the biggest struggle, getting in front of your laptop, in front of a keyboard. So I didn't really have much content to write about. And but I just knew my message, what I wanted to talk about. It's the power of our mind. And once I got married and I started talking to or coming across different kinds of people, that's when I got content. And I also learned from people how not to make your own life difficult, and how not to make life difficult for everybody else around, and to truly own the life that we're living instead of playing um, a victim card all the time. So yes, this book for me is special because, as you know, I'm only 29 years old, and this is from a perspective of a 29-year-old girl who, especially in today's world of overload of information and so much positivity that is spread all over social media, wanted to find the gap between that being too ambitious and being too positive, and where do you start from right here and right now? How do you get to that stage? So basically this book uncovers how to get to that point. And yeah, that was my inspiration. And this book is really aimed to shed layers of unnecessary behaviors and mindsets that are self-sabotaging and honestly do not let us live our authentic self. So yeah.
Amazing. I mean, a very valid point that when you immigrate over from anywhere, especially across the world, in that age that you came over, you're already struggling with so much identity struggles. You don't know who you are. You don't know which career path you want. You don't know if you want to pursue education. There's so many different components. And when you add on another layer of moving across the world, when it's a completely different culture, there's a lot of challenges. And I do feel
Absolutely.
this isn't talked about much because I think all of us can relate to this. We either come from a family that's immigrated over, or we
Mhm.
personally have immigrated over. And at that time, it's so important to have that support group. And it's hard to decipher our feelings because we're so overwhelmed with all the challenges we're facing. And
Mhm.
it's amazing how you've taken that initiative and the step to start this conversation. You had this conversation with other people, and you've sort of taken your research and all of your interactions and combined it wholesomely in this book so that others can relate, and perhaps it can make them feel like they have a community.
Right.
right? That's great.
Right.
I actually really love the thought of this book because I do believe we don't talk about it enough. It's very easy, like labeling people, but there's also
Mhm.
a lot of more factors. We can stereotype people and be like, oh yeah, they're unable to do this or they're going through an identity crisis, but there's also like the whole mental health component. Where is this stemming
Right.
from, right? And those are very important conversations to have because we need to, it's easy to look at the symptoms, but you sort of have to like diagnose the cause of where this is coming from. So that's why
Exactly.
when I heard about your book, I really wanted to get you on here because we have so many young listeners. We have so many people that have immigrated over. And I think everyone could really prosper from this book. And it would be very advantage to them to read it and to maybe spread the word, tell others, because it is hard to put your words into feelings and
Yeah,
to be able to communicate it, right?
absolutely. And that's another thing that, we aspire to be this perfect person, or we think we're going to get a support group to make us or give us answers to a problem. But at the end of the day, you have to be your own support group, no matter who you are, where you're from, where you're going, because especially the reason I was able to identify that is because my friends back home and my support group back home wasn't immigrated with me, so I had to find certain people, or actually I feel those people I attracted, they were very helpful, but at the end of the day everyone is going to go back to their own lives, right? You are within yourself, within your own device, and you've all you've got. So that was just my way of coming to certain realizations that the challenges that how to overcome challenges that we face on a day to day. But at the end of the day, the best support group I found was within myself, and meditating or spending a lot of time with myself. So that's another thing I talk about in my book, is the power of solitude. I see a lot of people that, aren't able to be by themselves. They feel very uneasy, or they always need someone comforting them or conforming to their ideas, their mindsets. But in real world, it doesn't work like that. Everyone is going to be different than you, and everyone is going to come with their own challenges and their own baggages. So labeling someone as, right away jumping onto conclusion and labeling someone as insensitive, or um, not mindful of your emotions, or not behaving or talking the talk that you want them to talk, right? So at the end of the day, you have to find your own authentic voice. And what happens in this environment of information pollution, we tend to be overly ambitious. We tend to be overly, we try to compensate by being positive, but we forget to, really take a hold of that situation and point fingers at ourselves. Okay, this is a situation that is given to me. I have inherited this, not from my parents, not from anyone else, but this is absolutely my doing. So, what can I do to change myself, or to change the way I tackle anything coming my way? So, another thing is, people say this thing that don't change the world, change yourself. And it is made to sound like you're doing someone else a favor by changing them, or changing yourself, sorry. But it's actually not true. You're doing your own selves a favor by changing. And especially coming from India, and the culture gap is day and night. There's absolutely a different way of being over here. It is more individualistic. Back home, it's more cultural. It's more a community driven society. Over here, everybody has to fend for themselves. Everybody's working hard. Not that they are not back home, but I'm just saying, like, you don't have as much support here as much as you do back home. And that is true for people who are even born here, right? So they will never experience what I, as a person from India, has experienced. So people who are born here, they also go through so much adversities that, being alone actually it creates so much ruckus inside on how to be, on how to understand people, or where my career is going, what am I doing with my life. We tend to put so much emphasis on, being a rich person, or having all the desired goods, or being so fancy, but we forget that our biggest blessing that we have is that we have a healthy body and we can breathe the air. Like, imagine being born 1,000 years ago where everybody was living in absolute fear and anxiety, because there were no such things as laws or government. So at least we are born in a time where, we have certain things in society that allow us to be ourselves. So why not leverage that, right? So for me, I feel, I wanted to dissect human emotion while writing this book. Like, why do we feel the need to do something or to say something, or why do we look at things from, why don't we look at things from all perspectives? So this book just genuinely is an attempt to open your mind towards everything and be open-minded, right? And to understand the fact that this life is very finite. So don't take yourself too seriously. Don't be so egoistic or pride. Like, if you need to be flexible and bend your ways and get moving and adjust accordingly, that's what this book is about. And certain times I'm not saying, oh, life is beautiful, enjoy every challenge. Yes, I am in a way saying that, but I'm saying that the challenge that you're facing currently has a profound meaning. It is here to teach you something. It is here to strike a chord in you, to elevate a certain level in you. So, take it as a challenge and try to overcome it the best way you can. And if in the process of that you're going to play the victim card, or you're going to find someone else to blame, it's really not going to get us anywhere. The blame game is not getting us anywhere, right? So as an immigrant, when you come here, especially, you have to figure out how to shop at a grocery store, something as simple as that. I remember when I was here at the age of 18, I had absolutely no knowledge about food. Like, food is used to keep your body alive. I was just basically trying to stay in a budget and eating everything that was frozen off the shelf, just to, feed myself. The only bottom line was to curb my hunger and just to get to classes or to get to part-time jobs. And being from a family where I had never worked, there was never a culture of working at a Pizza Hut or at a Starbucks. So doing that and then coming across certain kinds of people who have a misaligned agenda, or certain people you learn some things from, you get inspired from. Actually, very honestly, when I was in those kind of jobs as like a cashier or a server at Starbucks, I learned so much from just observing the customers who would come in, and they would buy their $8 Starbucks drink, and they would sit with their MacBook and still be unhappy. So for me, that was like, oh my God, I wish I had your life. I wish I didn't have to do that. But I always used to dream about, okay, I want to get to a point, like at that point of time, I used to wonder about, I just want to get a shitty beat up Honda so I don't have to take a bus. And, I wish I had someone to celebrate Diwali with, or I had not celebrated Diwali in like over 7-8 years in my university years, because no one really knew about it. So yeah, you go through so many challenges every day. And I know so many people who had come from India, like myself, as students, they actually found themselves to be very, very depressed. And also, that was the same reality for me. But then you realize, okay, the weather is very different here. It's the lack of vitamin D. So let me take some vitamin D, let me change and tweak my habits and get into healthy eating regime and a workout regime. So every day, little by little, every day has immense value it holds. So when we begin our day, we can let the day take over, or we can tell our mind, okay, this is a day that I'm going to conquer, and this is the way that I'm going to behave, and I'm not going to let anything else affect me. So just getting to that point is very, very, it sounds easy, but it's very difficult. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, that it is not something native to people. Everybody goes through it. Nobody's truly special. That is why we're humans. But it's our everyday habits that, lead to a certain kind of personality trait at the end of the day. So don't have some high ambitions and be like, oh, I'm going to be so perfect today, I'm going to be so positive today, and think that things are just going to work out. No, you have something that is occurring in your life is because you have created it. So many students who come here, they forget that they came here to get exposed, to get some exposure, to get better educated. And I think it's good that a lot of Indians who come from India, especially university students, they realize the value of money and the value the hard work that their parents put in. So yes, not just put the blame game. So being here away from my parents also made me realize the value of parents, the value of parenthood, and just getting yelled at by parents, how amazing that is. And we tend to forgo all that. But if you don't take it as that, rather you start blaming parents for your shortcomings, or you start blaming your past, then you'll never move forward from there. So when everybody has their challenges from the past, right, everybody wants to find that one reason from their past that they are insecure or they feel unfulfilled. But the moment has passed, and this moment is going to pass as well. But you are the one who's at stake here. So you have to be mindful of how you are creating thoughts, and from where is the motive of those thoughts, and from where you want to go with those thoughts. So really ironing out your past, and solitude really allows you to do that, being by yourself. So that's why, back in the day, our gurus used to go up in the mountains or caves just to meditate. But unfortunately, this is not what we can do. We need to work. We need to be in this real world. And another thing is, it is very important to be in this real world. And it is very important to fulfill your relationships to the best of your ability. If something, especially a blood relationship, is not serving you right or is not for you, that doesn't mean you just discard it or you just throw hate back at it and move away. No, you need to be the bigger person first. You need to be the one who needs to resolve everything first. Do not expect people to do that, because they have their own challenges and their own limitations, that if you, as an example, if you set an example for them how to be a bigger person, how to be better, then maybe it'll inspire them, and maybe that'll inspire the society, and so everybody will inspire each other. So it truly starts from yourself.
Yeah, so what I'm understanding, Divneet, is self-awareness is very important. Taking the time to connect with yourself, understanding yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think this past year, because of the pandemic, it's been interesting, especially when we look at millennials or the Gen Z, right? Because all of us, we love to feel accomplished, right? We have milestones set that, hey, when we get to this milestone, whether that's finishing my degree or getting this job, that we're accomplished. But then we were faced with something we've never dealt with in since we've been alive, where life has sort of stood still, our accomplishments have stood still, and we've needed to come through that, but also we needed to connect with ourselves. And I think that's where a lot of the challenge was this year, because if we look at throughout Canada, throughout the world, depression rates, addiction rates have skyrocketed in this past year. And I think a lot of that is because of how disconnected we are with ourselves. That when we feel some uncertainty in life, we actually don't know how we ourselves can deal with it, how we can resolve it, how we can be resilient. And like your book is, I feel like it's a great way to further understand that. It's going to make us think from a different perspective that maybe we aren't aware of, that exists. Like, these perspectives exist in the world. A lot of it comes from how we ourselves decide to look at things.
Right, exactly. In this culture of instant gratification, we pop open our phone and we see something and boom, an hour is gone and we still feel so empty, right? We are actually very lazy people. We are spoon fed everything, right? With Amazon, we can get everything delivered. With Uber Eats, we can get our food right outside our door. We don't want to personally put in the effort or massage that muscle within ourselves. So that is when that's where we lag. That is where we need to work on that. It is not going to just come to you, a certain realization, till the time you go through certain adversity. You really block off all this instant gratification and you really give it time, be patient, give it time. Like, there used to be a very commonly used saying that patience is a virtue. And it's so funny that I have rarely seen people be patient. As soon as we get into a job, we want to get promoted. As soon as we have a Gucci bag, we want a Chanel bag. As soon as we have a Mercedes, we want the better model of Mercedes, right? So we want everything now and we want everything quickly. And that's what I try to address in my book, that, let's just say all your wishes have come true and everything's going perfectly. Then what? Then it's still you. It's still your behavior. It's still your personality. It's still your attitude. And, not attach the idea of success to something so tangible and so disposable. Rather, like, you should be your own project and you should be at peace with yourself. And that should be your ultimate goal of success. So exactly like you said, addiction issues, that people are addicted because they want an instant high. They want something instantly to distract them, right? They want something to uplift them instantly. But it's funny, I started working out. Like, I used to always be a fitness freak, but I really started doing yoga religiously every day. And I realized the high that I got from that, what it made me feel about myself at the end of the day. It made me feel confident. It taught me how to breathe, just let go and breathe. And that's another thing. We hold on to things so tightly that till the time it's not squared away or etched out, we don't let it go. We think, okay, this is it. I need to work through this or my life's doomed. It doesn't work like that, right? So at the end of the day, you have to put in the effort. Nothing comes easy. We think all these celebrities or all these social media influencers or anybody who's at the top, right? Drake, Diljit, anyone from our community. It is not as easy as they make it look. There's years of hard work. There's years of self introspection. There's years of working on their craft. That is why they are here where they are, right? So, but us as an audience, we just consume that on our on our phones, and we think, oh my God, it's supposed to be that easy, but it's not. Nothing's really easy, and it's not supposed to be. And if it was easy, you will never ever appreciate it. Look at the air we breathe, oxygen. Like right now, if you take that out from our atmosphere, you won't be able to breathe. Then you'll be like, oh my God, I need oxygen, because it's been given to us so easily. We don't tend to take it seriously. And this pandemic, I hope it has pushed people to work on themselves and take responsibility of the words they utter or the actions they indulge in. So yeah, it really, it, you need to find, if you want to get high on life and you need to feel good, yes, drugs is a very easy way, but it's so temporary. If you want something to be permanent, if you want something to be an attribute, a permanent personality trademark, you have to work at it. You have to wake up early. I just remember when I was working, so I moved, so after my graduation, I moved to Toronto to find a job, and I did get a job as like a tech support in a call center environment. And so it was very go 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 all the time. So I started waking up at 5 a.m. and I started going for walks. And I remember this vivid moment very, very clearly, that I was walking and I saw the sunrise, I saw the birds chirping, and the feel good emotions that were released at that point, it just made me realize the power of waking up early in the morning. And we so love our sleeps. But then I used to always talk to my dad, and he used to always say this one thing, that beta jaldi soge to jaldi uthoge, right? So change your habits, sleep early, wake up early, start your morning right. That's why I place a lot of emphasis on dawn, the time before sunrise, because even in our Gurbani, it's written, Babiha Amrit Vele Bolya Tandar Suni Pukar, that when you're up in the morning, you're a clean slate. I'm not talking about 10 a.m., 11 a.m. I'm talking about early in the morning. You're a clean slate. If you're looking for that natural high in life, wake up early. And whatever you put on your mind, I can guarantee you'll accomplish throughout the day, because there's a different energy. And that's what we need to realize, that we think we're in control all the time, but actually we are ruled by the forces or the laws of nature around us constantly. And we need to pay emphasis to that, right? So in the morning, it is time for you to get up and it is time for you to start your day right. It is because nature sleeps through the night. Nature's waking up in the morning. There's so much energy of creation, of divinity in the morning, that, yeah, so that's exactly it. Like, just find habits that are opposite of what you're currently doing to make yourselves better, instead of just going on with it and on with it. I'm not opposed to occasionally indulging in substances or having fun. That's fine, but everything in moderation is the key, right? We cannot be perfect. Like, we cannot be monks. Okay, let go of everything and quit everything. And it's so funny. I used to be a non-vegetarian. I used to eat 3 meals a day that were chicken or salmon and eggs. And then one day I woke up, it was in 2017, and I don't know, I just never ate a bite of chicken after that. So you never know, when things are going to happen to you. You just have to be ready for them. And when I was mentioning celebrities and their stature and their hard work and their fame, it came to them because they have been preparing themselves for it. They have been working on it since day one. They have been putting in work. So if you are not ready, if you don't tweak your habits, success and all the results come after that. They're a byproduct. You are first your project, and that is where it all starts. I
Absolutely.
hope I answered that question.
Oh, I think you got it head on. Like, that was perfect. Exactly, right? There's so many challenges we all face. And you brought us some
Yeah,
very valid points, like the social media aspect. Like, I've talked about social media before in my program, and I feel like there are the pros, there are the cons. All of it comes down to how you choose to utilize it, right? Like,
right.
there is a lot of positives of social media. We do need to accept that we are the new era. We are very tech savvy. That is the future. Even if you look at industry, they're all really focusing on like the AI and the technical side of things, and things are
Yeah,
developing. So in terms to stay on with the flow and how things are generating, we do need to be aware of these things. But a lot of it comes to what you choose to do that. I mean,
Right.
am I choosing my Instagram to look at models all day and like try read negative news, or am I looking at it to see what good's happening in the world? Am I seeing what charitable organizations are doing? Am I reading about history? Like it all stems down to how you want to practice it. And one other thing I want to touch is the early morning thing. And the reason I'm going to touch this is because I feel like I am a great example to them. Why I'm saying this is I've I've been through that, right? Like where for me it was like work was such a big thing that that's what my whole day revolved around. It was like,
Mhm.
okay, wake up, go to work, do your thing, work long hours, come back, you don't have time for yourself. And I at one point accepted that for these years in my life, work is demanding, but I need to be able to change my other habits so that I have the
Mhm.
time for myself. I wake up early in the morning, 5 or 6 a.m. And what does that mean? That means my social life decreases because I need to go to bed on time. But it's
Right.
also understanding that every moment in life has a time. There's a time to develop your career where you're going to sacrifice things. There's a time where you're studying post education, you're going to sacrifice other things. There's a time you're focusing on relationships, you're going to sacrifice that. One of the biggest challenges I find around my social circle, my network, and the reason I'm saying this is because me and you are such a close age. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of people who will relate to your book are going to be a similar age group to us, is I genuinely feel that we try to balance too much.
Yeah.
I don't feel that everything in life, whether that's relationships, social life, careers, education, habits, traveling, I don't think all of them can work simultaneously. And I think that's why our generation is hitting these challenges. We're burning out.
Short attention span.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're burning out. We don't
Yeah.
we don't live in the present. Like you were saying, once someone has a Gucci bag, they start focusing on the Chanel. That's all future. But what about the present moment? How do we connect to this moment?
I was in a party one time and all I saw were a bunch of girls in the corner just having their husbands take pictures of themselves, like up around 100 or 200 pictures. And what are they going to do with it? They're going to post it on social media, tag every brand they're wearing. And I saw that they are not even present in that party, right? They are not even bothered about that. They're just here for themselves. They're just here to do their thing. I get it. Like you are an influencer and you need content. I understand all that. But the reasons we have short attention spans is we have so many distractions, right? And we forget to focus on task at hand. We get so overwhelmed and overworked right away. So this is something we need to practice, is to focus at a task in hand. If you're spending time with your parents, please don't look at the phone and disrespect them. Put your phone aside and give them your 15, 20 minutes, whatever you have in a day. If you are with a friend, spend time with the friend instead of being on social media. So the biggest challenge that our generation faces is distractions. We are so constantly distracted by everything. Everything is now online. So, we need to take control of that and be present in the moment. And even if it's not a lot of time, even if it's 10, 15 minutes of your day, even if it's that 2 minutes of drinking water in a day, really, really take that time and be present and be grateful for that water. So it literally is practice. You can't just wake up and completely be a different person. You have to tweak small habits every single day. And with social life and things like that, yes, it's great to have fabulous friends. It's a lot of fun to party and go out. I understand all that. But I think the world needs us more than anything at this hour. We need to bring that sense of community back. We need to bring that sense of love and care back. Everything we do now, weddings, parties, it's all for social media exposure. So if we detach that idea from everything we do, that it is for social media, and we be fully present and joyous in the moment ourselves, then we will start etching those memories in our head instead of taking it constantly for social media, and then people complain, oh, nothing good happens in my life. No, a lot of good happens, but you were distracted. You were breathing the air, you were eating food, and you were really lucky to have a plate full of food. So you were distracted, you didn't pay attention to that amazing moment that a lot of people around the globe are working for or starving for, right? So you have to be present in the moment. No, you have to be an observer. Another thing I find missing is that, we tend to speak more and listen less. We have forgotten how to listen. The more we start listening to other people, the more we um, talk less, for a lack of better word, the more we take in the moment. We need to play and put emphasis on time. Time is just going by. Your phone, your everything, yes, once you're gone, you'll have a online ghost of yourself. That's great, I get that. But every moment is a passing by. And it's funny, even people who are not into social media, they're still so worried about the future, or they're still so worried about the past, and they're constantly replaying all the memories over and over again and talking about them all the time, instead of living in the moment. And it's truly an understanding that we need to get at sooner or later, that life is not tomorrow or yesterday. It is right here, right now, in this very moment, that we need to pay attention to and gauge our surroundings, what's happening, witness the moment, right? And from there, we can truly ask ourselves, okay, what would I like in this moment? How should what do I want to be accomplishing today, so I'll feel better about myself tomorrow? So it is a lot of self-questioning. It is a lot of self-discipline that I talk about in my book. I in the first half of my book, I tell you how to point fingers at yourself. And then the second half of my book is about, okay, how do we go from here now, right? How do we go from knowing our own drawbacks? How do we go about making them our strengths instead?
Great. And
Yeah.
focusing a little bit on the book again, Divneet, I do have a question. The title
Yeah.
of this book, New Dawn Within, where did this come from? What does it mean to you? So what made you choose this as the title of your book?
Honestly, one day, I think I was 25 or 26, and I was having a drink with my friend. And I told her, I want to write a book, and I'm going to name it New Dawn Within. It just was so organic. And now that I look back, it truly humbles me, because it makes me realize the power of something greater than ourselves. Law of attraction, right? How to leverage that. So if we focus on things that we want to do, or we like, we attract them. They just organically come to us. So there is a bigger power at play here. But New Dawn Within is basically to find, dawn happens every day,
Mm-hmm.
right? So New Dawn Within, you can find a new dawn within every single day and try again. So it is basically a new day within yourself, a new you, a better you every single day. And that's just how life is.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Divneet, is there anything else you want to share about this book, about the structure or who you're trying to target? Like, do you have a particular target audience with this book?
I do. It is mostly people from the age of 16 and 35, when we are really building that foundation of who we are. But it's funny, the other day I was speaking to an aunt of mine who read my book, and she's in her late 60s. And she told me that she could connect with it, and there was a certain line that she meditated on. So, and there was another person in their 40s. They said, okay, they sent me a picture of a chapter, and they're like, this is beautiful, I've been reading this line over and over again. So yeah, I'm saying my target audience is 16 to 35 based on my age, right? I want to be humble, because I haven't lived those experiences that older people have. But I think this book is for everyone. I can only write what I have understood or what I want to say. But at the end of the day, what your understanding is based on your own filter, right? So your own understanding and your own ideas. So yes, my audience, is a younger age group, especially like we've been talking about the distractions and overload of information, and the fact that they are so technologically driven that they're spoon fed everything. So it'll be great for them. But I think, it is for everyone. And I hope whoever reads it feels that they have taken something away from this book and can relate with me. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Divneet, how can one get a hand on your book? Like, is it at local bookshops? Is it online? How is it possible to get a copy?
Right now, it's available on Amazon worldwide, and it's also in ebook edition on Google and Kindle. So it's available there. I'm working on getting my book on more platforms. It was just published in September, so it's going to take a bit of time, but yes, Amazon.
That's great. And do you have any future writings in the process? Anything in the pipeline?
Yes, definitely. This is a self-help. Next one is going to be fiction, and I'm working on it. Every day I'm observing and taking in ideas. It is going to be about how a perfect world should be or can be in a very fictional sort of a way. So I'm very excited to write that because I can get all my um, piles of information that has been stored inside of me since years out, experiences. So I'm looking forward to putting in all that on paper, and hopefully it'll be out soon. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I'm sure we're all going to look forward to that. And Divneet, is there any message you'd like to leave with everyone who's tuned in today?
Firstly, I just want to thank you for listening in, and it was such a pleasure to get my point across. And I would love to have you guys grab a copy and give me your feedback so I can improve for future. And I would love to hear your thoughts on, what you could take away from this book, or what part you liked or did not connect with. I would love to hear it all. And yes, this is, I'm not very wealthy, and I don't have a lot of power in this policy making in the world. So I'm just letting my thoughts do the deed. I'm just trying to put some thoughts out there that might help someone going through tough times. And if it can do the job, then I think my goal will be met. And yeah, this is just my way of doing a bit of good in this world. Yeah.
That's great. And one last question, Divneet, I must ask, because you're an author and I'm sure you avidly read. What is one of your favorite books?
Oh, one of my favorite books. I love this author, Paulo Coelho, and I think we all have read his books. And his book called Alchemist, and all the books that he generally write about are, this energy or finding this power, magical power within. So yeah, I love all his books. And also as an author, I love J.K. Rowling, the creator of Harry Potter series, because she became so wealthy off those, and she ended up donating her wealth to help the world. So that was truly inspirational. And yes, Paulo Coelho's Alchemist would be my book, because I think it left such an impression on all us teenagers, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. And Divneet, I know we talked about social media and I know your views on it, but at the same time, is there any social media handles you want to share with anyone where they can follow you and find out about your future work?
Yes, absolutely. So for the book, the Instagram page is New Dawn Within, one word. And personally, if you would like to get in touch with me, my Instagram handle is Datkaur, Datkaur. I post a lot of posts about my dog. I have a very cute dog. And yeah, I'm not very active because I try to segregate that, and I try not to show my personal life too much. But if you need to reach out or share your thoughts, that's where I'll be. Sorry. And yeah, I look forward to having you guys get in touch.